Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
Marriage is a turning point in one's life as people graduate into roles that carry crucial responsibilities. For women, it necessitates a lot of adjustment as she goes into a new household, that of her husband and her in-laws. It also means a lot of moments of joys and sorrows, triumphs and failures. That is why it is very crucial to a woman to have stability in her marriage for proper mental health. What are some of these marriage-related issues for women? Let's explore this in today's episode of Mind Watch.
The beginning of most heterosexual relations aims at the culmination of marriage or a long-time relationship. The musical strains of the marriage band heralds a rosy future for the couple as well as their dear ones. Just as the ceremonial rituals have only marginally changed over time, so have role expectations. It is with these expectations that the couple enter the future together.
Nothing can remain static, and that is true of marriage also. The concept of marriage itself has undergone tremendous changes over the past few years, with both men and women becoming more aware of their rights and responsibilities. There is a change in the very concept of marriage.
Marriage to me means triple CU: caring, coordination, cooperation and understanding, and above all love. And if these four things are not there, then I think marriage won't work.
Marriage, according to me, is a beautiful bondage if it really works out. It's like any other relationship, something special to it, with two individuals totally bonding with each other.
A stable life, a secure life to be more precise. Especially in India, when you see a spinster or somebody, everyone is, after her, hounding her to death. So I think it provides you a sort of social security.
Marriage means a beautiful relationship. If it runs with the wheels of cooperation and love, but on the vice versa, it can go sour also.
What is marriage? I think, somewhere it's an extension to friendship, like where there's a perfect understanding and a care for each other, a helping hand to proceed in your career as well as in your personal life, satisfaction basically. That's what I think is marriage.
The modern woman is more educated, less ignorant, more active, assertive about her feelings and bold in decision making. She is no longer submissive or shy. She is much more aware of the opportunities than her grandmother or even her mother had been.
First of all, he has to provide me with a lot of security and help me maintain a very proper mental balance. I don't want to have a disturbed life, Peace of mind is something which I want, and a lot of help as far as my career and all is concerned.
A broad-minded person who looks at things, trusts me and helps me out in my life in all respects, like I said, and personal and career and emotional, every way.
My expectations from my spouse are that he should be understanding, good-natured, and he should also give me support wherever and whenever I need.
I had a lot of expectations from marriage, but only time would tell how many of them were fulfilled. I had many expectations from my husband also. I wanted him to be a loving, caring, rich person who is good-looking and easy to adjust with, and I think I've got what I wanted.
In spite of the tremendous change in the times, the women around the world, especially in male-dominated societies, continued to be viewed as second-class citizens. There are over-expectations from them. In the process, their needs are often not looked after.
When a girl gets married, she is supposed to look after the house, she should be an ideal wife, an ideal daughter-in-law, an ideal mother. So everybody expects too much out of her. And when she goes out for work, the job has its own responsibility and she has to do justice with the job also.
I want to marry a girl who can look after me and my parents. I would prefer to marry a girl who is educated. Since I stay away from my parents, at least she would be able to inform me about their well-being. I wanted my wife to be good-looking and one who would give respect to my family.
For ages, we have had a very stereotypical role of the man-woman relationship. Now, in this regard, what we had thought, we had assigned certain roles to the men, we had assigned certain roles to the women. And the society had come to expect that such roles are not changeable. Nevertheless, we have seen that for the last some years, there has been a kind of a change in the status of women in our society, which has largely come about because of the higher educational attainment of the women, their increase in the getting higher positions in the job sectors. Resultantly, they have got the higher socioeconomic status now. They have an ability to make independent decisions. They have ability to make independent life of their own, which is not so much latched on to the dictates of their in-laws or the husband's families.
सुबह 5 बजे के उठो, पहले उसको भेजो, फिर काम करो, फिर ये करो, मेरा तो दिमाग ही खराब हो गया, ये सारा दिन तंग करता रहता। मेरे को नहीं पता, मैं तो सारा दिन घर में बैठी रहती हूँ ना, मेरे को कौन हेल्प करता है, कोई हेल्प करने वाला है? उसका काम देखना है, उसकी पढ़ाई देखनी है, उसका खाना बनाना है, सब करना है। काम करो क्या? मेरे को नहीं पता, मेरे को तो हेल्प चाहिए ना, सारा दिन वहाँ रहो, मैं सारा दिन अकेले नहीं काम कर सकती हूँ।
We are witnessing a lot of role reversals, and with the result of that, what's happening is that the men are finding it very difficult to really adjust in their marital relationships. Now, this has led to a lot of problems in marriages. People are finding that the kind of expectations they could have from their partners, those are no longer fulfilled.
Although the initial years of marriage could be most troubled, even after passing through the initial bumpy years of marriage, the problems may not be over. Constant trouble with in-laws, problems with the spouse, growing children, economic difficulties, etc. keep cropping up, and that needs constant change in the way a woman has to handle these problems.
The stress arises basically one due to the children, and then the kind of time arrangements and to look after the children between us, because both of us are working, and we have been facing problems here and then, in the sense when children fall sick, or when they were having holidays and we don't have holidays, and to look after these children. We do have sometimes we have a little bit of time arrangement problems, and so it leads sometimes also to some kinds of misunderstanding to a certain extent.
Well, sometimes I too do the same things he does, like I just go and lock myself in my room for a while, or I go into the kitchen to do some cooking, and just to stay away from him till he cools off. And then when suppose we have a visitor or something, and you have to make up at that particular point of time, and this is how it goes.
One
of the reasons for conflict could be if the wife does not give due regards to the guest, thinking that they are her husband's guest and not hers. Another could be whenever the husband and wife, in spite of being financially independent, do not share the financial burden jointly. So this could be one of the reasons.
Well, we don't have any major conflicts. We usually arrive at a mutually agreeable solution. But minor ones we have, say for example about sending the kids to school. At that time we did have a lot of conflict, because I wanted a school with a good name and a good reputation. For him, distance was a criterion, because a small child should not have to go very far from home. But I didn't mind that. I wanted a school with name. That kind of conflict. Or maybe about going out somewhere. If we plan a trip, I might want to go south, he wants to go up north. Those kind of minor conflicts, not usual.
We must see actually what is the reason of their marital disharmony. The reasons can be temperamental incompatibility. The reasons can be arising out of very practical life situations, like they are not living together because they both are working and are working at different places, and they have very little opportunity to really interact with each other. They have got used to a particular type of lifestyle which they cannot adjust with each other. There may be problems arising out of the time or the investment they need to do in their children.
Primarily there are personality problems which can, two different personalities can have a clash because of which, or it could be basically the ideology, or it could be the background, it could be the basics, differences in the class, religion, cultural background, so on and so forth.
After marriage, the family as well as the daughter-in-law required to give each other a lot of space and time to get readjusted according to changed circumstances. This requires a lot of flexibility as well as clear communication so that the process of adjustment can take place, failing which there can be repercussions not only for the daughter-in-law but also for the entire family.
The quality of interpersonal relationship between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law not only determines the atmosphere that prevails in the family, but also harmony for future generations to come.
In-laws play a major role in creating or ending conflicts. If you ask my case, I have no problems. My parents-in-law always tend to end any kind of conflicts which arise.
If you know how to carry yourself in a group, then it doesn't matter for a family member and for the couples to adjust. But if the couple and the family members don't know how to carry in the group, then the conflict starts.
I think a family is a joint venture where each of us, there's no straight cut thing, okay, this is your job, this is not mine, and you have to do this, I will not do this or not. It's a joint venture, it's a cooperative system, so each one, wherever we think we will be of any help, we will do it, simple as that.
I think first of all the daughter-in-law should try and understand the family atmosphere. She should be a little tolerant and try and adjust according to the circumstances. When I got married, theirs was a joint family, while ours was a nuclear one. So I had to make a lot of adjustments, but it was okay.
Difference of opinion to rahega.
Difference of opinion is bound to be there, and in fact it should be there because only then is progress possible. But if there is mutual understanding, both of them are willing to share, then I think a good adjustment and relationship can be developed between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law.
दोनों तरफ से तो बड़ा अच्छा एडजस्टमेंट हो सकता है.
Times have changed. We should not hold on to old times and say, I used to do this, my mother-in-law used to do this. I did not have the freedom or the money, so how can my daughter-in-law have it? This should be avoided. Then only can there be happiness. My daughter-in-law is like my daughter. I had just 2 sons, now I have a daughter too. And the best thing is we do not have any ego problems between us. If she wants to ask something, she can easily approach me and I explain everything to her. So there has never been a problem between us. Bringing someone else's daughter to your home is just like getting a sapling from the nursery, which if not handled well will wilt. That is why it's important for the mother-in-law to remember that the daughter-in-law would take some time to adjust. She suddenly finds herself amongst so many people with different demands and expectations. And I feel that the 2 most important people who can help her adjust are the mother-in-law and the husband.
I think the husband plays the most important role in establishing a good relationship between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. If he blindly follows his mother, it's not good. Neither is it good to listen to his wife only. He must try and negotiate whenever there is a crisis. He can listen to both of them and then decide objectively as to what is the best in the given situation. He can help them to reach a middle path so that neither of them feels neglected.
Anxiety, depression and adjustment reactions are quite common in women undergoing any kind of stress. It assumes bigger proportions whenever it starts affecting their family life or their children.
ये क्या है? घर बना के क्या ये तरीका है? तो क्या है? कंप्यूटर टेबल है कि क्या तुम्हारा सर एक अपना तुम्हारा माइका नहीं है समझे? ये ढक्कन क्या किसने रखे हैं यहाँ पे? ये देखा ये? मतलब मैं दिन भर यहाँ पे काम करूँ और ऑफिस में वहाँ पे दुनिया भर का वो भाषण सुनूँ और तुम्हारा यहाँ ये बिहेवियर है.
Marital conflict has a great impact on women and on men, of course, but on women particularly. You could have a whole range, a whole gambit of psychological disorders, starting from low self-esteem, feeling that I do not matter, I'm not good enough, low confidence in their ability to do anything, irritability, anger, depression, headaches, and more major illnesses, major depressive disorder. All these things can happen as a result of marital conflict, because marital conflict is one of the greatest stressors which a married woman or a woman is likely to face.
Marital disharmony of any type can lead to conflicts between the spouses. This can cause immense difficulties and at times both the spouses being separated from each other mentally, physically, or at times leading to separation or divorce.
The impact is not only on the woman, the impact is also on the relationship per se, and whether the relationship is going to survive or not is dependent on how much impact it is having on the woman. It is also on her children, whether she is able to care for them adequately or not, whether she is able to fulfill that role.
An important area of concern apart from marriage for women is being single. Whether she chooses to remain single or becomes single due to any unfortunate circumstance, she faces a lot of problems in the society.
A single woman is one who does not live or is not with her spouse. I probably would say the age 35. Above that, she may be single by choice, she may be divorced, she may be widowed, or perhaps even separated, maybe for a period longer than 6 months.
I've been separated for about 7.5 years, and it was a divorce on mutual consent. So yet I went through a lot of trauma, readjusting into the life of a single person. You basically feel very isolated after a while, and you tend to feel as if you're not in the mainstream of life, and you tend to internalize this, and you tend to blame yourself, even though it may not be all of it may not be your fault.
आज से 12 साल पहले मेरे हस्बैंड की डेथ हुई थी.
My husband expired about 12 years ago. At that time, I felt it was impossible to live alone, because our societal sanctions and norms are such that they are too harsh for a widow. These norms were fine several hundreds of years ago, but are obsolete in the present-day world, and yet people tend to cling to them. Their way of thinking has not really changed all that much.
क्योंकि समाज का रूप बदल चुका है, पर जो standard of thinking है लोगों की, वो वही चल रही है.
And the other thing is, when they become a widow, because they don't have the socio-economic support, or they don't have the will to, they don't have any means to live on their own, they are put into a lot of atrocities by their own family members, which they have to bear without saying anything outside, because one is they have to take care of the children, and the other thing is they don't have any income for themselves, so they have to bear with all these things.
Maybe people do not realize that if she feels neglected, she develops a severe inferiority complex, which in turn suppresses her other talents and potentials. In fact, I feel that she should be encouraged to realize her positive qualities so that she can contribute effectively, rather than living with the guilt feeling of being a burden on society.
Primarily, I think that the woman should not sit at home and feel sorry for herself. First and first, she should make an attempt to readjust as far as employment is concerned, as far as making a new set of friends is concerned. Get back into as much as possible into the realm of society.
So the woman has to work at being self-sufficient, self-resilient. Somebody she can herself protect herself and survive.
It's not that marriage is only a path of thorns full of difficulties. Marriage also has its own highs apart from the lows. When a woman sees the husband satisfied, the children growing well, these are sources of immense satisfaction and pleasure for a married woman.
Fundamental thing is that there must be a level of compatibility between the spouses that can arise provided the expectations from the marriage of both the spouses are at the same level. This is one. And second thing is that also that degree of freedom which is expected by both the spouses should be given to both rather than one having over the other. And the third and the most important thing is that in the marriage, the expectations of the institution of marriage. So it is not the duty only of one spouse to fulfill the duties of the marriage, duties towards the marriage. Rather, it is the duty of both the spouses to fulfill those expectations of the institution of marriage.
Both of us would have to share all the duties which we have, and also that we don't have anything called a man-related job or a woman-related job, and we try to help each other in that way, don't you?
Yeah, we basically distribute a couple of times. Whenever she is free and I take over, and whenever I am busy she takes over, especially on the Saturdays when she doesn't have the holiday, and so like this it goes.
The relationship of mutual love, respect and cooperation is what determines a good marriage.
Marriage is one of the most complex phenomena known to mankind. On the one hand, it could be the strongest bond between two individuals, and on the other, it could be the most bitter, hateful relationship. For a good marriage, both the partners need to nurture it with a lot of give and take. Only then can it blossom into a beautiful relationship.
Here are some tips for a healthy marriage. Be flexible and accepting in your attitude. Communicate your feelings to each other. Appreciate each other's achievements and good qualities. Take interest in each other's activities. Strive to develop your relationship. When in trouble, discuss with friends or relatives. Don't hesitate to take initiative in resolving marital disharmony. Don't hesitate to seek help if required.
Healthy marital relationship is built on mutual give and take, with both men and women shouldering the responsibilities equally. The onus of making a marriage work lies on both the spouses and not on the women alone. The family members can contribute so that the marital relationship and the home can be turned into one with bliss, contentment, and harmony.
Silent in your tears, wasted in your years. When you cry alone. Recourse to fantasy, living with insanity. Another night beside the phone. Don't your mind feel the pain? Seek your meaning by my watch. the bed. Curl up with your memories, togetherness and harmony.